So, and she's an awesome Christian attorney. So if you ever have an auto accident or you get injured on the job or just about any type of, case that you might have that you need a great defense attorney, this is going to be the woman here. Let's see.
Okay, I have my helper elf because I am not tech savvy. But I am Sue West. I own the West Law Office. I've actually been helping injured people for almost 30 years. And even though my name is on the door, these are the people that actually keep the door open. This is my office manager, Renee, and the cutie there is my receptionist, Erica, and my tech genius is my paralegal, Yanuba. But without them, I wouldn't be open. And he talks about unworthy. I definitely feel unworthy, and I'm going to cry. Without God, I know I wouldn't be here. Without my husband pushing me, I wouldn't be here. So you don't want to hear that, but let me just have 5 minutes, and I'm going to go over some things most people don't know about. When you get an insurance policy, want to buy a car or something, you tell them you want full coverage. And most people think full coverage is everything, but it's really not. So I'm going to mention a couple of things that aren't included in your full coverage, which you might want to get, especially in Houston. The first one is, we refer to it as PIP. It means personal injury protection. And what it does is it helps you pay some of the medical bills. It's kind of, you can also claim those bills on a claim if you file a claim against someone else. The difference between PIP, which is personal injury protection, and the other is called MedPay. MedPay is a little cheaper, but there's a reason for it. And neither one of these coverages are very high. They don't cost that much. But PIP, when you get a settlement from someone who hit you or who injured you, you don't have to pay that back. MedPay, you do. Also, MedPay does not cover part of your lost wages, whereas PIP does. So there's two distinctions there, but they are very good to have. The next thing I want to talk about is uninsured motorists and underinsured motorists. A lot of people think they have that, or they think they don't need it because it's a law, you have to have insurance. Trust me, not everybody has insurance. One, it's kind of expensive, we understand that, but to protect yourself, you should definitely get uninsured motorist because it covers you when the person that hit you does not have coverage. And it also, but be aware, we've started seeing policies that have uninsured motorists for your car only, but you want uninsured motorists for your car and for yourself because it basically steps into the shoes of your own coverage, or the other person's coverage, sorry. But I encourage you to get it because honestly, there are a lot of people driving in Houston that do not have insurance, and you're just out of luck if they hit you and you don't have uninsured motorist. The other coverage is underinsured. And this really comes into play if it's a major accident or there are multiple claimants because most people will carry the minimum limits that are required. In Texas, it's $30,000 per person, $60,000 per accident. Just say you're in the hospital for a week or, their policy is not going to cover your injury. So underinsured will come in and pick up the tab up to whatever your limit is. And there's differing limits. You can get lots and lots of uninsured motorists if you want, underinsured. Also, if somebody hits several people, the maximum that policy is going to pay is $60,000 per accident. I don't care if 100 people were injured. So underinsured would come in very handy in that situation. The other thing that underinsured would come in handy with is if you're driving a car and it's a very expensive car, chances are the other person's insurance is not going to cover your whole car. So you can use your underinsured to pay the rest of your car damage. Yeah, and usually they're sold together, but make sure you ask your agent, hey, is this underinsured and uninsured? They're mostly sold together. I don't know if I've ever seen a policy unless it was under uninsured bodily injury or property damage only. You don't want that. If you're going to pay for it, get what you want. So get PIP, if you ask me, above MedPay, because MedPay, when you settle a claim with somebody else, you have to pay that back. PIP, you do not. Get PIP and get uninsured motorists and underinsured.
Does anybody have a quick question for her?
Yes.
It'll be a tough question, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Here, Danuba. I told you, I don't keep the doors open without them.
A lot of times what I see is we live in Texas, and unfortunately the law in this hits right between the eyes of Texas. So there's a lot of insurance companies that aren't very good, and I'm sure that you have to deal with them. And
names.
that's my point. As Christians and as an organization, can we get help proactively figuring out what insurance policies we should buy from who? Because these are really great principles, but how many times have these principles failed the public? And that's the one question. The second one is, when do we call an attorney? Because you can so much have distrust for the insurance industry. Do you call day one? Because how many of us have made the mistake of trying to work
Yes,
with
and
that insurance
do not
company?
give them a statement.
Exactly
do not
right.
give anybody a statement. If you have an accident, one, do not admit fault, even if you think you are, because you may not be. I know most people say if you hit someone from behind, you're automatically at fault, but that's not always the case. So don't admit fault, and don't give anyone a statement. And your other question is, we know insurance companies that work well with us, meaning they're fairer than some other ones, but you'd have to call me for that. Not going to mention it now. Did that answer your question?
It did, because
Okay.
I think a lot of people are afraid to call an attorney right away. They try to
You
do it
should.
themselves.
You should, because one, you protect yourself, and second, because sometimes you say things and you're just making a statement.
Because you're being a
But
good
they
person
can
and
use
a
it against, that's right, they can use it against you. And there's some other things that have time limits. So we really prefer if you call us day one or day 5 if you've been sick, but day 1 is the best.
And you don't lose anything. It's always a free consultation.
Correct.
So it doesn't hurt to just make a phone call and, we can guide you whether you want to hire us or not.
Yeah.
One time for one more quick question. That's it.
Okay, sorry.
I was going to ask, I was told that if somebody does a hit and run, that the police, at least in Harris County, don't even prosecute or try to arrest that person. Is that true?
That's a tough one, and the police are an interesting animal. I love the police. They protect us. Sometimes when they're at accident scenes, though, there's a lot of paperwork. So you just have to keep pushing them. I know we've had clients that said they didn't want to write a report. They didn't want to, but you just keep pushing them. Say, I need a report written, because it's paperwork.
A lot of times if they don't want to pursue whoever's fleeing, we always just suggest call and ask to speak to a sergeant or a lieutenant, someone in higher power, to get them to kind of really push to prosecute whoever fled. If you have a license plate, if you have any little bit of
Yes,
information.
take pictures. That's the other thing. When you're at the scene, take pictures of your tag, of their tag, of the damage.
Their
Take
ID.
pictures of their ID, insurance card. You got to document everything, because sometimes who the car is registered to isn't who was driving, and that could be a problem. I could go on, but he needs my microphone. Thank y'all.
Thank you.